All right, so we're starting the first Tech Tuesday of 2014, almost on time, only 1 minute late this year. So, welcome back. I'm really excited for a new year with all new Tech Tuesdays, lots of new subjects, lots of new technology, and we kick off this year talking about drill down with CMaps Analytics and SAP Dashboards. So this is a template that we recently put out at the very end of the year based on high demand from our customers, where essentially customers demand a way to drill from multiple geographies. And so what I wanted to do today on this Tech Tuesday was showcase some of the logic that we put together inside the SAP dashboard or Excelsius and illustrate how we can go from a custom region or territory down to country level and even into state. And then similarly, at a lower level, go from maybe state or region to state to down to zip code level. So one of the nice things about CMaps Analytics is that we try to provide, obviously, technology. We're a technology provider, but also best practices, data, and process to end up with what your business users are asking for. And so that's really the goal today, is to fast track your dashboard development when you're using state and global states and countries to represent your business metrics. So I'm going to flip off the camera and I'm going to go right into my SAP dashboard example, and I'm going to walk you through this particular template. And now what you can do as a Senegon guru is go into the template section and download this source file and all the shape data needed to deploy this into your business objects or whatever environment you're using. So without further delay, let me go ahead and look over here and switch over. Okay, so now we get my SAP dashboard environment. If you want to see, sorry, I'm working on a Mac today, which I can. My Mac today is kind of like the engine that wish it could. It's moving a little bit slower than I'd like it to. But let me go to cmapsanalytics.com. So if you go to our support page, because I want to show you guys where to find this thing first. If you go to our support page, it'll dump you off into CMaps knowledge. And then what you can do is go into templates. So you can view all of the latest templates, and we get an error, which was awesome. So now we can also use templates on the right-hand side, which is what I'll do for now until we fix that error. And then down at the bottom here is where we have some of these new templates. So, for example, the global state template that we're going to work through now, I wanted to show you what this looks like as an end result. So as I mentioned before, we can start at the at a custom region. So what it's doing is it's loading custom regions or global custom regions. And so from here we can start our drill through where I select North America. The map is going to position itself and center itself to North America. We can also go back out, and maybe let's say I want to go to South America, and you can see it's very quick, very snappy to get us to South America. And then I can go one level deeper. So if I want to go from country down to state, I can select a country. The map once again is going to, in this case, call a different shapefile, pan and zoom itself, and then show the individual states for the country. Now this is pretty cool because what we've done is we've loaded 3 shapefiles, and we can drill up and down pretty quickly here. So we have the region, the world by country, and the world by state that we're all loading and assigning data to. So I'm going to walk you through how to literally plug and play your own data into this particular dashboard. I'm going to start with the navigation because that's probably the most important, especially if you wanted to add an additional level. So what if we want to go from region to country to state, maybe down to city, right? You have a business objects query that brings you back city level detail for your map. So this right here is the levels in our dashboard. So if we were to open up the property sheet here, you guys would see 3 layers: region, state, and country. It doesn't matter what order these are in using this logic here. I've seen some people use the order of your drill or be concerned about the order of the drill, but this logic that we've built for drilling up and drilling down, it doesn't really matter what order it's in. But nevertheless, I have region, country, and state. And then really what we're using is this map series destination. So a lot of people skip this property, but it's actually pretty important because what this series name destination tells us is what layer we just selected in the map. And so by knowing what layer I selected in the map, I can then figure out what layer I want to be looking at or drilling down to, and how I can get back to the previous layer. And that's what this business logic does right here. I'm not going to walk through this. If you wanted to see how we do it, you can obviously go through the formula. But basically, what I want to know, once I make a selection, so let's say I want to look at country, right? So if I select country, this is going to give me what I've currently selected, 1 layer up, so 1 layer up in my hierarchy, and what 1 layer down is in my hierarchy. Because at any given time, I need to know this information so that I can drill up or down. And you can see once I get to the bottom of my hierarchy, that's where the Excel logic comes in. You know, now we get a good representation of. Actually, technically, this should also say city, but basically, the map itself will get you to the end of the hierarchy so that you can't drill up or down anymore. Okay, so we're basically using this logic to drill up and down. And the way that we show each geographic grain or geographic level is through a concept called series visibility. So the idea is that when I am initially in my dashboard, so when I fire it up, we want to, we want to be showing the region series. So you'll see that regardless of what layer I'm looking at, we're always looking 1 layer down from what I just clicked on. So in other words, if I click on a region, it's going to show me the countries. If I click on a country, it's going to show me the states. So that's where this series visibility logic comes into play. And so once again, knowing 1 layer down from what I've clicked is the key to doing the drill. The same way that using this back button here gets me, puts me back in my hierarchy. So at all times I know 1 layer up from what I'm looking at. So if I click on region, clicking the back button will bring me back to region once I'm looking at the states. So it'll literally take you 5 minutes to walk through this back button logic and Excel logic, but the important thing to know is this is where we're doing our navigation and drilling up or down. From a mapping standpoint, all we've done is we've created 3 layers of using shapefiles. So I'll start with my region because that's the most simplistic. So my regions are wired up to a shapefile. In this case, it's a custom shapefile that I've created. We're assuming that for your organization, you're probably going to create your own custom shapefiles, and we have a Tech Tuesday, we have a tool that will literally generate these regions for you. We're not going to cover that today of how to create the regions because we've already documented that pretty well. But assuming that we have your region file here, we then use a feature called shapefile and data order keys. And the way this works is the shapefile has specific regions that we've defined. And when we bring in your business data for our regional files, then we don't really care what the data looks like. It can be sorted in any way, your data can be formatted in any way, no problem. And so we basically replicated this also for country. So we get our country shapefiles, we have our the keys. So in this case, we're using country name. You could also use the country code, so we've included that. So if your business objects query brings back ISO codes, then you don't have to worry about formatting of your names. Because something you have to think about, which is pretty important for these kind of dashboards, is your business data for United States, for example. In your BI data, is it United States? Is it United States of America? Is it USA? We recommend, if you have ISO codes, either ISO 2 or ISO 3 codes in your master data, that you use that as opposed to using the names, because there is differences in the country names. The nice thing about using shapefiles and the way that we've set this up with shapefile order keys is if you need to change the mapping to match your business data, no problem. The map doesn't care what these label names are as long as they're in this order. So you hook up your shapefile, you hook up your BI data. If United States of America is missing in your map, all you have to do is just go down, change wherever United States of America is. You go, you change it, and you're back up and running. So you'll notice that once again we have for our state level view, we have we've actually simulated a query in the template. So what we didn't want to do was use Excelsius to do the filtering from country to state. We're assuming that your BI data will filter down just the country or states that you want to look at, as opposed to you using Excelsius to do that. So we've simulated that with an XML connection. So we're literally bringing in, based on my country selection, a filter down list of states for that country. So that way we didn't have to keep everything in the dashboard. The last thing you want to do is use Excelsius to be filtering down, 4,000 to 5,000 locations in your dashboard. So for those of you who are not familiar with the XML connector, we have a simple XML data connection. We use the country name as a variable, and based on that, we then bring in our country names and ISO codes. So nothing too crazy there. We're just simulating what it would be like to have a BI query that brings you back a list of your country names. And that's really it. The last part of the dashboard is the heat map. So you notice how I'm coloring in these countries based on data. So that's achieved using our alerts capabilities coupled with some simple heat map logic. So these are our values. So actually, let's go to country. Because country, we have all of our data here. So we have a list of all of our countries. We have our values. So this could be sales, it could be head count, it could be whatever you want this to be. And what we've done for our countries is we've defined values. So here's all of my head count. And so based on these values, we want to shade in the countries accordingly, right? And so the way that we're going to do that is we first enable alerts. Then what we do is we calculate the limits for the alerts. And the way that we do that is we take the minimum, we take the maximum, we take the median, and then from those three values, we can very simply calculate or create as many levels in our heat map as we like to get that nice gradient. And then finally, what we've provided is some pre-built gradients. In this case, we have that nice blue color, which creates the heat map coloring. And so this gives you complete control over your heat maps, because if you wanted to introduce a logarithmic scale, if you wanted to flag your minimum and maximum values with a specific color, you can do that. We've seen maybe a dozen different type of heat map requirements come from customers. So while it is in our plans to create like a red easy button for heat maps using this similar logic, we wanted to make sure that you can create your own heat map logic if you wanted to tweak it based on your business needs. So this is the way that we build the heat maps. It's very lightweight and performs very quickly. So that's how we get the dynamic coloring with our heat map. And it's nice because this data can dynamically change, and so will your heat map. So the last thing I wanted to kind of recover a little bit is just kind of the structure of this particular dashboard and the tabs. So once again, we have our navigation tab, which controls what layers you're looking at when. We also have the map pan to and zoom levels. So the navigation is dictated by which shapefile you've selected and which country you've selected. So for instance, when I select a region, it's going to grab this region here and place it into the destination. So let's do that again. So if I select Australia, for example, what we've done is we've actually captured the centroid, so that in other words the center of each one of these countries, and the zoom level for the map that we would want to zoom into. So you don't have to do any of that work. We've already collected that data for you. So when I select a zoom level, or if I select a country, you can see that we have the centroids and the default zoom level for every country in the world already created for you. So once again, let's simulate me selecting Canada here. All right, so if I'm on navigation and I've just selected a region, I'm going to go to Australia. So you can see the map centered itself on Australia. And the reason it's done that is because here we've selected Australia. And then if I go to a country level, we've selected Canada here. So in my navigation, if I select country, I'm expecting the map to center and zoom itself right into Canada. So there you go. And basically we've just linked the zoom level here and the pan to location to go look up based on where I am in the map. So navigation controls where the map zooms itself and what layers show up based on your interactions. And then you just have your region data. So we're assuming this is going to come from your BI query. You have your state data, once again, which we assume is going to come from your BI data. And then finally your world data. So you can see all three of these tabs are identical and are configured so that you can just plug and play your data. It doesn't matter what order the names are in. It doesn't matter what type of data you bring back. You plug in your query here with a single or multiple measures, and the map will just automatically plot the data. And then finally, our shapefiles tab. So this is just the metadata for the shapefiles. So you can see here we have the URLs on the very top, and underneath we have the states, what country those states belong to. We've concatenated them in case if you need that for some reason. We're not using this, but maybe you want to use it for a lookup or something. And then we have the ISO and labels for every country, along with the centroids and the default zoom level. So you'll never have to do that work of figuring out where to pan and zoom the map. So that's pretty much it. Frankly, the workload to create this particular template was about a half a day's worth of work. Now that's because we build these things a lot. To actually plug and play your data and use it in this dashboard, we've seen a couple customers give it a go so far, and the results have been very positive. So by all means, use us as a crutch in building some of these dashboard requirements, and get your hands on this particular template. It does require you to be signed up for our Senegon Gurus. and so that way we know who you are and who's using it. That way we can work directly with you to track your progress and success. So if you haven't signed up for Gurus yet, you can go to senegaknowledge.com or go to any one of our websites and click on support. And from here, it'll dump you off into our knowledge portal where you can go to Senegal Gurus. Just click on Senegal Gurus. It'll bring up the Gurus page. Hopefully it happens faster than it's working on my machine here. There we go. Now I am logged in already, so this is what you see when you're logged in. You get the insider's news, you get all the latest and greatest tools. So you can see here we just uploaded United States drill from state to zip code. I'll show that to you guys real quick. But yeah, you get all the latest and greatest. If you're not signed up, you'll get this. And then you can sign up, get your login info, and then you can get your hands on all these goodies. So that's pretty much it for this drill down example. Like I mentioned, we have also a brand new template for drilling. Oops. Well, I was going to show you. We do have a brand new template for drilling, and so we'll try that one more time. See if I can get this to go. There we go. All right. So yeah, as I was saying, this is a brand new template also that we have available that uses the same exact drill logic. So in this case, we have two levels. If we want to go from std down into zip code, we can do the same thing. So we have all of the United States zip codes available, and with CMaps now you can go from state right into zip code level and go all the way down into the the granular detail of zip code or county. So once again, we provide all of these alongside the CMaps analytics license. So as you evaluate or as a customer, you can get your hands on these particular templates and all of the source files you need to plug and play your data. So if you have more requirements, let us know. These come directly from customer requests. So we want to hear about your requirements. Let us know, and we will showcase them on Tech Tuesdays. So thank you guys. Next week we have a very big Tech Tuesday. I'll go back to go back to our video view. So you can see the effectiveness of these templates are self-evident, but next week we have a big presentation showcasing the new CMaps Analytics mobile integration. So you guys will be able to see firsthand as gurus, as Tech Tuesday visitors, you'll get the first view of our new mobile integration for 4.1, where you can actually publish these analytics to the iPad through Business Objects Mobile. So that's our Tech Tuesday next week. You don't want to miss that one. And from there, I wish you guys a great Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Take care.